So growing up in that environment and sitting in your dad's lobby, how did you go from that to making a career out of this? Were there particular moments along the way that had a particular impact on you that caused you to say, okay, this is what I actually want to do with my life?
I thought I wanted to be a lawyer this whole time. I was like working in my dad's office like as a teenager and whatever because I was trying to learn about the law. And my older sister is also a cannabis lawyer. She does like cannabis licensing and stuff. So I was like, all right, like my path is set for me. And I just could not get past the anxiety of taking the LSAT. It was really what happened. For some reason, like I had a block. Like I walked out of the test, I canceled my score, I was signed up. Something was like happening that I just could not get through this thing.
And this was late in undergraduate, I
Hmm.
assume. So throughout your college experience, though, you were sort of the mindset that you were going to become a lawyer.
There was no other path that I could see for myself. And I was going to be a weed lawyer. Maybe there were moments where I thought I was going to do something else, like intellectual property, but through cannabis strains and intellectual property. I don't know, something like that. But I was always really passionate and curious about psychedelics. I had tripped when I was in college and was just like, wow, I really love this. Like, whatever this is, I love it and I am seeking it. And I went to Berkeley, like, I was hanging out with classic Berkeley hippies in a co op. And I had that. And I also somehow ended up going to Shabbat dinner at the Berkeley Hillel every week. And I had these like rabbis making sure that I was staying grounded while I was off doing psychedelics with the hippies. It's all different sort of iterations of what I already grew up with. But on a whim, I applied to Columbia Journalism School. And then I got in and I was like, all right, Columbia is a great school and I want to go to New York. And hey, I really like writing. So I'm just going to do that instead. And I still had no intention of getting into like the drug space as a journalist. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I ended up, when I was in a class, I wrote a story about New York's medical marijuana program for this magazine class I was in. I didn't know anything about New York cannabis. I grew up in California, like Los Angeles. That was what I knew. So I was like, let me report on something that's like a topic that I have familiarity with, but not like a scene or what
Mm-hmm.
is it like on the East Coast. And that story, I pitched it to the Village Voice, and they basically gave me a job reporting on the rollout of New York's medical marijuana program based on the story that I wrote. They're like, you seem to already have a lot of sources in this department. Just go for it. You can write for Us Weekly, whatever. So that is how that snowballed. But the whole thing happened on accident, really. I was in a class where everyone had to report on a different ethnic beat, and I was the only Jew in the class, and so they gave me Hasidic Brooklyn. I really wanted the Russians, but they said no, like you have to do the Jews. No one else is going to get access. You at least look Jewish enough to like get your foot in the door. And I met these kids who were coming from black hat Hasidic families who were doing these like psytrance festivals on the weekend and telling me they were taking all these psychedelics. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how it was just like such a dissonance. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine Orthodox Jews like doing acid and ketamine to psytrance on the weekend. Like, what? It blew my mind. And honestly, like, I've followed that scene and made friends in that scene, and that plus the cannabis, it was just like, I am passionate about this, and these are the people I want to spend my time with, and these are the people who are teaching me so much that there is to learn about life and God and religion and business and culture, that like I'm just going to make my life my living and find a way to write about this and get paid for it and make my own publication. And so that's how this happened.